So once you got here, what was the first step? Like, what would somebody do? I have an acting background. I'm in Ohio. You in Florida.
Right.
We all both coming out here. I got a name in Ohio. You got a name in Florida, but we don't have no names here.
You're nobody.
So what did you do first and foremost when you touched the ground?
All the green, silly things. I asked a bunch of questions. That's number one. Everybody should, because you need to find out. And I took a bunch of classes. I jumped into some studios, AIA studio, which I don't even think is around anymore, and another actor studio. I don't know, I can't remember it. I did that for about a year, both of them, just to see where I stood. I had to gauge myself amongst these new people that I didn't realize at that time everybody was like still trying to figure it all out. But you know, initially you feel like, oh shoot, I'm here. These guys are the cream of the crop. And there is that, like 2%, you know, of the people here. But really, we're all just trying to figure it out. So I started getting headshots, mailed out. I mailed out maybe anywhere from 300 to 500 headshots, resumes, cover letters that were way too long, saying way too much stuff, which, you know, if anybody wants to learn, I'll teach them about cover letters. And how to get an agent today. But yeah, mailed out hundreds. I got maybe 3 people that said, hey, come in for an interview, out of hundreds. And I ended up going with this one guy. It was called Baron Entertainment at the time. I don't even know if it's still around. He was a guy who was with Commercials Unlimited. He was starting his own company. And I was like, this sounds right. He's new, he's fresh, he's doing his own thing. And nothing happened. I didn't actually get on acting wise until, it's all about referrals. So once I met somebody who, this older lady she was on pretty much every commercial, African-American woman. She was the mom and wife and everything in every commercial for like years running. And I forgot how we got together. But when I saw her, I approached her and I said, I've seen you on everything. I love you. I think you're amazing. Can you help me? You know, desperate. And she goes, I don't normally help people, but I do feel something about you. I'm going to charge you. She charged me, I think, $175 to come to her house with her and her husband there. And she put me on tape. She grilled me. We went through a whole thing at her house for like 3-4 hours. And at the end of it, she told me, I do think you have something, which is funny because you come from Florida where everybody knows. I got several agents out there. I can walk into any place. I can walk my kids in any place. But out here, I needed validation from, you know, some woman who thinks I had something. And she put me on to her agent, who I still had to audition for. And he accepted me. I got signed and we went from there.
Going off of what you just said, how important would it be for somebody to validate themselves internally before they get the validation from someone else? Because oftentimes we see discouragement, we see people quitting, we seen all this. So going back home, we done seen tons of that.
Yes.
So how important is it for somebody to internally know themselves and validate themselves within this profession?
Even before I say how important it is, I want to just note that it's super rare. Knowing yourself in this industry, I found it to be super rare. Even the people who are quote unquote stars or celebrities are still every day vying for this validation from whoever, fans, whatever, their parents still sometime. You know, you see people who get awards that are still like, you know, this is for my dad who never told me I did. You know, you like, bro, you just did it. You know, you got an Oscar. He's like, still want validation from your dad, you know, whatever.
Like, okay, Denzel.
Right.
Sit down.
Calm down. I think you did it already. I'm pretty sure he's proud of you. So it's very rare. If it's so important, it's super important. If you knew who you were going in, I think you'd be uber successful. I auditioned for a lady named Leslie Kahn. She's still a prolific teacher out here. So if anybody, go look her up. And she's very tough. Small Jewish lady, in your face, doesn't take anybody on. I mean, just to teach you, just for you to pay her, she won't even accept you. Very tough. And she told me a story about a guy. She said, I met this guy. He was from, I don't know, Texas or something. And he came out here, he wanted to be an actor, very good looking guy, tall, handsome, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that doesn't matter to me. Does he have any chops? And I told him before I started talking to him, I said, hey, those are really nice boots you're wearing. And he said, I know, right? And for her, she was like, okay, this guy gets it. I think that story for me, when she told me that instilled in me, you have to know for yourself that your stuff is popping. You got to know for yourself that I wore this because I know I look good or I feel good about who I am. So I learned validation on my own through different little trial and error and different voices that have spoken to me over time in life. And that's just one example for me.
Thank you for watching A Wise Way. Subscribe to stay updated, share to pass the knowledge, or view our other videos on the left.